right. What's up, everybody? So, sorry for the height. Like, I feel like I am doing a terrible job of keeping up on uploads because I had surgery and then now I'm on spring break and on the road. But, while I've been on the road, the world has descended into the what's the right way to put this? I don't even know how I would metaphorically describe the state of the world right now. I don't know. I don't know the right metaphor, but I'm not really in the mood to go like doom and gloom. So I'm just going to try to make fun of things while we educate the world on what's actually going on. I will say, what's up, everybody? But like when it comes to the situation, anybody watch my video that I did about the stalemate on the in the strait and how dire that situation is? I did realize there is one major saving grace that could keep us from total annihilation, not like nuclear, but in terms of like economic, because they seem to have us by the balls, like they really have us by the balls. All of our allies need the oil. They have this one little area and it's a choke point for the whole world. And, but here's the thing. If the US dollar collapses and the economy in America collapses, China's collapses also, because China's number one economic driver is building and shipping stuff to us. So I don't think that they want to just literally put us in the ground economically, but I don't think that there is any way out of this situation where we are not. I mean, like we're going to lose. Like we're not going to win. That is for sure. Absent nukes, unless someone has some kind of insight that I don't. But anyway, Balthazar, what's up, dude? Brooke Mathis, thank you very much. Trying to heal up nicely. I did an interview the other day. The dude's like, it was a great interview. He's like, I posted it on my timeline, and he's like, what do you know about the Black Eye Club? And I was like, are you implying that I am part of Pizzagate? Because I'm not. Okay. My face was surgically altered, and now I have black eyes. Dude, check this out, actually. Do you guys want to see how gnarly this is, dude? Okay, check this out. Sinus lift post-op bruising. This is what I had done. I found, dude, I'm not even sure if I can actually even show some of these because they're so bad. Oh my God. Like this is the same surgery that I had. Okay, check this out. Like this is the exact same surgery that I had. I saw that. I was like, all right, I think I probably got off easy, man. Probably got off easy. But okay, so let's go ahead and let's run over here because the headline of the stream is about Joe Kent and what he revealed related to the Charlie Kirk assassination, which is only going to be a starting point. We're going to talk about a lot of other stuff. We're going to talk about the state of the world and a lot of other things, but we're going to start right here only because one of the worst kept secrets in the world was that Joe Kent was the source of the fact that during the Charlie Kirk investigation, they were blocked from investigating any foreign interference, right? If you guys don't remember that, there was a report that came out that I believe came initially from Mike Glover. Mike Glover is, as I remember, don't quote me on this, I think he's a Green Beret. I'm pretty sure that he was a Green Beret, and then he was I know he was a contractor for the CIA, but he's like a certified, like very, very, very credible, like tons of tours guy. I actually took a firearms course from him the day after the George Floyd thing happened. Super random, but yeah, so he was the first one that I heard talk about it. And he was like, he's like, I mean, and he kept saying like it's someone really, really, really high up. And I was like, I bet you and I actually couldn't remember Joe Kent's name at the time, but I was like, that's gotta be the guy who was working directly under Tulsi. And yeah. And then I think Nate was like, that's Joe Kent. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But bottom line is, so he said that Kash Patel was compromised because he had blocked them from investigating into whether or not there was foreign interference. And everyone was like, why on earth would he do that? And at the time, you know, like obviously simple way to like, if you're how you interpret that story. Actually, you know what? Let's listen to him say it before I just start going off. Like I'm just okay. And then has anyone blanked a BOB boxing dummy in the neck with a shirt and necklace to compare the reaction to the shirt of CK? If not, do. Dude, I don't know if this is what you were saying, but what I'm hearing, which is a genius idea, and I'm literally going to call Heavy Duty Country right after this, is we should put a shirt on the dummy and then shoot its neck with a 30-06 and see if the shirt does what happened on Charlie Kirk. I can't believe I never thought of that. I can't believe I never thought of that. That is an excellent, I don't know if you're, wait, hang on. Neck, shirt, and necklace, compare the react. So we're doing that. We're definitely going to do that. Yeah, we will definitely do that. That's a great call, man. Thank you. We will do that for sure. Okay, so let's listen to Joe Kent and we will discuss.
What kind of pressure does it require to get a president who campaigned against exactly this thing for 10 years to do exactly this thing? What does it take to do that?
I wish I knew definitively. I think there's two potentials or two schools of thought. I mean, one is the media echo chamber.
By the way, this is not starting on the Charlie Kirk portion, but if you guys can see on the top, you guys probably can't see it, but on my screen, it's there you go. We weren't allowed to ask questions about that, but it's during this video where he says it.
The donors, the way the Israelis come in and kind of launder the information, like I described previously, and then the other option is much darker. I mean, we still don't know what happened in Butler. We don't know what happened with Charlie Kirk. And by no means am I saying like, you know, the Israelis did this or any of that, but I'm saying there's a lot of unanswered questions there. And there is enough data to at least say that there's a good chance that President Trump feels like he is under threat. We're not allowed to ask, basically, was there any linkage between what took place with Asif Merchant, who was recruited by the Iranians to come to America to recruit proxies to kill President Trump. The FBI put a confidential human source at him. All this is public now. This is all out there in the open. And he's arrested. And then 2 days later, a sniper takes a shot at President Trump. We think Merchant and the CHS was talking about the human source that the FBI put at Merchant. They were talking about, hey, we could kill the president potentially with a sniper rifle. But then they arrest him. 2 days later, Butler happens. And Crooks, according to the official narrative anyways, is an enigma. We don't know anything about him. We can't get into his devices. If we did get into his devices, maybe there's nothing there. No more questions are allowed to be asked about Thomas Crooks.
Yeah. And if you guys didn't see the episode that Tucker Carlson did on Thomas Crooks, it was amazing. Like amazing. This was very recent, like maybe like 3 months ago. And I remember, this was 3 months ago still when the Charlie Kirk investigation, like, on YouTube was a lot more like focused still. And I remember the whole, like for like three days or 3-4 days, the whole thing was all about the, what was discovered on that Thomas Crooks documentary that Tucker Carlson did, because it was incredible work. And it was very clear that he was recruited. And for those of you who didn't see it, Thomas Crooks had a very large online footprint, and his footprint looked like this. He was a psychotic, like rabid Trumper. And then he like switched completely and then became like this psychotic anti-Trumper. And he was saying things in the comment sections that were like, how did someone not arrest it? He was threatening to organize groups that would go into government buildings and whack everybody out. He was like just stuff where you're like, how was this guy not already in jail? And then there was another account, which started like interacting with him throughout and kind of exacerbating this. And then the guy, all of a sudden, once they started talking, he just went completely dark and never posted any comments about that ever again. It was like, I think that was in 2022. So 2 years before he took the shot, and assuming it was actually him that took the shot. And there's reports that he had all of these encrypted messaging apps in his phone where he was communicating with people overseas, and we never got the official stories. They couldn't get into those apps or something. You're like, what are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? There's no way that these apps exist that, I mean, I guess it's not no way, but it seems extraordinarily unlikely that there are apps that like the intelligence agencies cannot access. You know what I mean? Jasmine, thank you very much. I just saw an article that unknown drones are flying over DC. Isn't that where Candace and Joe Kent are now? Yes, I did see that as well. Although I didn't see who. I feel like hang on, let me look that up real quick, because I feel like they quoted someone else that they were concerned about. It was over Rubio and Hegseth. That's what it was about. They said Rubio and Hegseth. Oh man, this thing that my computer's on is all shaky. Yeah, so it was, oops. What on earth is going on? Oh, the Washington Post. I thought it was the New York Times. I'm like, I subscribe to the New York Times. Don't hold that against me, guys, but I do. Okay. Is this about me? Hey, you never know, dude. A lizard person. The guy whose interview I did the other day, he asked me about that too. And just because we were talking Pizzagate and all that stuff, and he's like, where do you land on the reptilians? So I'm like, that's always been a little outside of what, like the kinds of things that I look at. But the only credible thing I had ever seen about it was that the report that one of the victims said that Epstein turned into some kind of green monster right in front of her. I was like, I mean, I'm not in the people who are doubting stories of people talking about these guys have a real bad track record of being right. You know what I mean? But anyway, how would you possibly think that this is a statement that makes any sense? Anyone who believes Joe Kent is dumb, why? Why would he lie? What would his motivation be to lie? Like I'm a genuine question. Like if people don't believe him, what would be his motivation to lie? What is his why is he doing this if it's not what he is saying that it is? You know what I mean? I'm at an Airbnb. Anyway, let's continue.
The DHS IG is currently being blocked from investigating Butler as well. That's out in the media. That's all well known. Your investigative journalist found that Crooks did indeed have an online persona,
quite an
online
extensive
footprint,
one.
and he was talking to people. So it's like, why aren't we investigating?
Okay, he's under investigation. He's under investigation for telling the truth. He's under investigation for leaking information, is what they're saying. That's the opposite of not believing him. It means that he was like ethically compelled to share what he was seeing to a point that he leaked. If he even leaked, I don't have any idea if he did. But like, I don't know. For me, I've always felt very confident looking at a situation where people are telling two different stories and evaluating who has the incentive that's more likely to lie. And in this case, it's not like I can know for 100% sure if someone's lying unless they're whatever. But normally if you just look at, okay, these people are saying this and these people are saying this. Oh, these people stand to gain $5 million if the story they're telling is true. This person is probably going to lose their job for telling the truth. It's like, okay, well, that's pretty fucking easy. It's like, okay, does this person have anything against this company where they might be trying to get revenge? Like, no, they were in good standing. It's like, well, then why would they lie? I know why they would lie. Why would they lie? You know what I mean?
Investigating this. I mean, if
An attempted murder of a presidential
attempted
candidate?
murder of a presidential candidate, and then there's another assassination attempt. There's been multiple public breaches of President Trump's security over the last year. And then, Charlie Kirk is killed publicly in a very horrific way. And we're not really even allowed to look into that at all. And Charlie Kirk was one of President Trump's closest advisors. And he also advocated heavily against a war with Iran. He was in the Oval Office in the lead up to the 12-day war. I wasn't particularly close with Charlie. He was very gracious to me when I was running for Congress, very, very supportive. So we knew each other. And the last time I saw Charlie Kirk on this earth was in June in the West Wing, in the stairway. And I said hi to him, and he looked me in the eye, and he said very loudly, and you've been in the West Wing. It's small. It's a tight space. And he said, "Joe, stop us from getting into a war with Iran."
Damn.
Very loudly.
He was single-minded.
And he walked off, and he went, I believe, into the Oval.
Wow. That is, I mean, I believe it. Like, Charlie is what's that, baby? Can you be on? No, not right now. I mean, yeah, and definitely no. Yeah. Charlie's a strategic minded person who genuinely believed that, like, in America first principles. Yeah, I mean, but do I believe Candace is always correct? No, of course not. No one's always correct. And I've been, that's the thing that makes me unique in this entire story related to, like, I don't know, like channels that interact with Candace is like, I have 100% of the time supported and defended her, while basically 100% of the time disagreed with her on her what she believed the actual answers to all the questions were. And what's funny is that now I realize she was way closer to right than I was, all along. Like, she was right there. She was literally right there. And then it turned out that I had fallen for, like, the trick, but the conclusion and the reason why she was right there, and the reason why there's so much evidence that it is, I mean, you guys know what I think. And, which brings us to this story right here, which, of course, like, to somebody who hasn't looked hard at this case and is just kind of like, they're observing the world, and they know as much as you would know at this moment. And it's like, they wasn't allowed to investigate international, involvement. What would you think? Of course, you're like, okay, so they probably did it over there. They found out that he was going to, rally against going into Iran. That's their number one priority. He had been warned a bunch of times, and so Israel probably did it. And they have people compromised, and so they're keeping Cash and Trump in line to not let anyone look into it, to pin it to him. The thing about it is that, like, it's a common sense conclusion for people, but it doesn't take other things into consideration. Like, Mossad is not going to kill Charlie Kirk in public like that. Like, that's just not a thing that no one would do that. Like, no one in there's the importance of not being implicated or found out killing Charlie Kirk, if you are a nation state, like, and especially Israel, would be, I mean, you're talking an existential threat. This is the most likely way to get caught, is like if you do something super public and you do whatever, and especially like if you involve all his friends and everyone's gonna have it on video. Like, there's no intelligence agency that would kill Charlie like this, when there's a million other ways to get to him. Like with JFK, when you have to smoke him, like, in during a parade. It's the president of the United States. It's completely different than someone who goes on college campuses. You know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to get to the president because the president's so well protected. But, like, just a person who, is in that vicinity, but does not have Secret Service and is out at college campuses all the time and, like, lives a normal life. Like, dude, there's a million ways they whack him out where no one would see it. And I mean, I consider that pretty much like a rock solid assumption that is essentially would disqualify them, almost like just that. But then when you factor all the other stuff in that I've discussed on the series, it's like, oh, well, that would explain exactly why they wouldn't let them look into it further, because they're on the outside of what Cash, Trump, Charlie, and all of them did. And so, like, you, as big as the circle seems, the way that I've been covering this, Trump, JD, Cash, the TPUSA leadership, whoever, military intelligence, his security team, whoever else was involved in this thing, like, it sounds like a lot of people, but you compartmentalize that as much as possible. So this actually would completely line up if the theory is correct, but who knows? I mean, dude, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, right now, I say, like, when people ask me, they're like, how confident are you that that this, Charlie orchestrated this? I'm like, 100%. That's literally how confident I am now. However, I also am confident enough, knowing myself, that as soon as Tyler Robinson is in court, I'm going to start being like, maybe not 100%. Maybe, I don't know. No, I don't know. Maybe 90. It's like it kept going like this because every single thing has supported the theory. But, like, once I'm looking at a kid in a courtroom who's actually getting tried and they're doing the trial publicly, like, for sure, I'm going to start questioning myself. There's no question about that. Okay, let's continue.
So when one of President Trump's closest advisors, who is vocally advocating for us to not go to war with Iran,
I'm definitely, we the people, I'm going to definitely discuss this shortly.
And for us to rethink at least our relationship with the Israelis. And then he's suddenly publicly assassinated, and we're not allowed to ask any questions about that. It's a data point. It's a data point that we need to look into.
What do you mean when you say we're not allowed to ask any questions about that?
We've been told that this individual, Robinson, is a lone gunman, and maybe he is. But the investigation that I was a part of, the National Counterterrorism Center was a part of, we were stopped from continuing to investigate. And the FBI, I will say that they stopped that because they wanted to have turn everything over to the Utah state authorities. Everything's going to trial. It's very, very sensitive. But there was still a lot for us to look into that I can't really get into. But there was still linkage for us to investigate that we needed to run down. And I'm not making any conclusions. I'm not saying
no, I don't think you are.
Because,
and again, very important is one of the behavioral tells that is extraordinarily hard for me to even consider, like, shaking off, is Trump is an incredibly predictable person. Like, he's one of the most predictable people ever. You know what I mean? It's like, he's, when I say, like, I can read and predict what people are going to do, what it is like, it's based on, if I, like, look at a person and I've kind of got them figured out, I'm like, okay, so what would they do if they heard that their girlfriend was, in the other house with whatever, is this kind of person who would whatever, that's a weird example, but, like, what type of stimulus and how would they react? And Trump is a hammer. Like, he jumps at every single opportunity to fight and attack people or like organizations that are enemies of his. It's just like every single time. He is a fighter. He will always fight. And that's not it's a strength when you need a fighter, and it's a massive weakness strategically when you're up against people who are thinking long and are, patient and have no ego. But as it relates to this, like, everybody knows how close Charlie and the Trump, like, Charlie is super close to them. This is just not like some political relationship. The idea that these leftists would have murdered Charlie Kirk and then Trump would have told Cash, because they can claim the case. Like, it is technically not he's not a political, he's not like a political official, but his vicinity to it, like, if the FBI wanted to make it or the U.S. attorney, whatever, if they wanted to make it a federal case, all they'd have to do is just claim it. They just say, yeah, we want that one. And the president of the United States for sure could be like, that's ours. I can't imagine a world where he would not say, Cash, I want you to bury this motherfucker under the jail and make sure he gets whatever. Okay. Like, it's bizarre. Like, I find it extraordinarily bizarre that he would have not wanted to take that case on. And, if you've got like if you have it doesn't matter actually. I don't want to derail this thing, but oops, what did I just do? Hang on, where did I go? I lost it, dude. I'm sorry. I had one that I wanted to respond to. It was from Black Eye Club. Yeah. I know they asked. Yeah, I told you he asked me about that in my interview, but nope, definitely not. You want to see? I mean, I'm not going to show you. I have screws, literally, like the screws they put into my jaw are so huge. Like I had dental implants before, but like I didn't go to an oral surgeon to get them done. And so they're just kind of like I didn't realize there was such a huge variance between like, oh, like a dentist does an implant versus an oral surgeon does an implant. I just didn't know. And dude, the screws that are in my jaw right now are massive. And like, I can like feel how big they are. And anyway, it's not even there. But yeah, like in the, I don't even know what the Black Eye Club is technically. I thought the Black Eye Club was like, I thought raccoon, it's like when you hurt, like when they punch kids or something. Whatever. Regardless, so on the last thing you said was about how they knew what the impact would be if leftists killed Charlie and the uprising it would cause. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And except for, so they let them whack out Charlie. It's like, or Charlie was facing prison and wanted to take himself off the map, and he thought of a plan that like checks every box. It's like a perfect circle, perfect circle. And whenever I start to even have a sliver of doubt, I just go back to Snake Eyes and I'm like, oh, cool. And Stacey Sheridan started the Gary Sinise Foundation. Gary Sinise is the co-star of Snake Eyes, and they just literally based this entire thing on Snake Eyes, and then someone leaked it. That I am pretty confident is exactly what happened. Someone must have leaked it. Someone from the inside told the Snake Eyes story, and then it ended up on TikTok. But nonetheless, so wait, okay. Someone did hire a professional makeup artist, recreate it to show further proof. Oh, dude, this has already been done, dude. This is like mega been done. This has been done by my guy on X, Henshaw. Hold on, I'll pull him up, and you can go watch that. Like he's recreated it with literally like just stuff at his own house. He's not even a makeup artist. He just like recreated it with like and it's so close. Jordan Henshaw on X, if you go look at his stuff. Anyway, okay. But we're not talking about that today. Today we are doing this, and then we're going to talk about the Iran thing.
Because of this happened. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying there's unanswered questions. We know the pressure because of the text messages that have been made public that Charlie was under a lot of.
Okay, I'm sorry. I promise I'm not going to do this all night. Oops. Why would Charlie fake his death when Trump could pardon him? Because, okay. Okay. I'm trying to figure out a way to answer. I'm not like frustrated with you. I'm just trying to figure out a way to answer this that doesn't turn into this huge thing. Charlie was getting targeted by the special prosecutor, the same as Paul Manafort, who went to jail for 7.5 years. Trump did pardon him. But Trump was he was not going to go to jail. He was not going to go to prison. If Trump would not have won, he would have for 100% sure have gone to prison. This is straight from Charlie's mouth publicly. If Trump, was still in power, he has nothing to worry about. But if they ever lose power again, okay, like make no mistake about it. Trump and these guys are in a war. Like that is a fact. It's the Trump side, like Trump and like Charlie and all those guys. And then like, I would say like Elon and Peter Thiel. So you have like the new tech guy, like the new tech people, right? Like the tech and Trump and Charlie versus these guys over here who are like the old school finance dynasty oligarchs with all the names that you're thinking of. They're at war. Okay. That's why things have been so crazy. As when Trump's in office, then like gets out, and then all of a sudden you're prosecuting a former president for the very first time ever. All of this stuff that seems completely that New York State changes the fucking law so that people are allowed to sue people for sexual assault that's like 35 years old, but they're only going to have that for 1 year. They really did that. We're just going to unlock it for 1 year where people can sue if they were assaulted over, unlimited amount of time. And so you have 1 year to do it. And then boom, he gets hit with, that's aging care, all this other fucking nonsense. They prosecuted, they hit him with 37 felonies because he paid invoices to his attorney. I mean, it's like, anyway, but those are the people who are doing that on that side. Like, then they're the ones who like will fund the Elon, like the campaigns against Tesla and all that while he's doing Doge. Like, this is how these guys fight. Like, these guys fight for real with like global shifting stuff. Elon buys X. Suddenly they don't have a vice grip on the dissemination of information anymore. If Elon wouldn't have bought X, I'm telling you, we would be in a world that does not resemble our world at all. And we have AI coming right behind it, which is going to completely change the world, like completely. And we're talking soon. Okay. Like I had some conversations with my buddies in like big leaders in Silicon Valley that are like, these are like people who know what's going on. And they're talking about how every single one of their companies is having to navigate the AI revolution, because all the investors are terrified to invest in anything because they don't know what tech companies are going to get replaced by AI and which ones aren't. And so all the software industry is starting to drop no matter what they do, because the investors just have no idea like what's going to get completely replaced by AI. But when it comes to like the people and the consensus and people's opinions, AI is going to shape that in a way that I don't think people can wrap their brains around yet. Like, and this is what hangs in the balance. So like Trump gets out of office, the next group ends up in office. Charlie's one of the most influential people in the country. Without him, Trump doesn't get elected either time. And he's a future candidate, all that. Like the idea that he was going to survive outside of prison with what they had on him once Trump was out it does not exist. Because if you look at what was going on at TPUSA in the books and what Wolves in Finance and all those guys uncovered, I don't know for sure any of this stuff, right? Because I would never make any statements of fact about anything aside from the fact that the other side from Charlie and these guys are demons, okay? Demons. But when you look at TPUSA's books prior to when Charlie died, like, there appears to be illegality there. Is all I'm going to say. Like, it seems like there was, stuff going on that was not technically illegal, right? And so those crimes are real, and that's the other thing that comes from Charlie doing this, right? If he does this, he sends out the email that says we're doing a Doge style audit, yada yada yada. That is him in writing, establishing that they are going to restructure the way that they finance structure the revenue flow and all that stuff through the company. And then he dies. And then now all of the other people who might have been implicated in any of the stuff that was going on before, they have a clean slate. They will never be able to get prosecuted because all of them just go, that's the Charlie era. Like, everything changed after Charlie died. So like, even if there were crimes committed, you stick it on Charlie and they're safe. He basically sacrificed himself to protect them and then also protect himself, and then also give the world a vision of these violent leftists that'll go and celebrate his death. The leftists did exactly what you knew that they would. And so it's going to shift all of these people over to the right. And had the Epstein files thing not happened, and then Trump actually have listened to Charlie's, direction on the Iran war, aside from that would have been good. But what really would have been good is if they had not believed that Erica could pull off immediately grieving widow and then like launch her campaign 2 weeks later. That's where they fucked up. And I thought about this. I was thinking about this a lot lately, how like, it's not that Erica is that, now she appears phony, weird, and like all whatever. It's very challenging to watch this version of her talk. But the reason everyone was so suspicious of her is because they tried to launch her career so fast. If they would have waited 6 months, Erica is going to be taking an active role at TPUSA, not the CEO, just immediately. If they could do it over, this is the move. Erica is, when she does her little speech thing right afterwards, she says, I'm going to be entering the fray at TPUSA and making sure that my husband's memory is respected and alive. And I'm going to do what I can to continue to drive his view, because no one knew better than I did what his view for the future of the world was. And then she goes dark for 6 months. And then they announced that now Erica Kirk has now been promoted to CEO of TPUSA. And so for that, now everybody has no idea what she's been doing for 6 months. And then you do an entire media blitz that's like, people said that she has been working 100 hours a week. Like she is a woman possessed, man. Like whatever this assassination did to her, like she's possessed by God. Like God's flowing through her, and she believes she's doing this for Charlie, and she's a machine. All of these things that you guys have been seeing behind happen in the last 6 months, that's all Erica. That's why she's the CEO now. So then this new impression, they would have been like, fuck, dude, who is this chick? But they fucking blew it. They were too confident that they would be able to just immediately do it. And they're like, fireworks, whatever. And everybody would just not remember that we saw Charlie's head get blown off 5 minutes ago. And you're like, why are you not upset when we are? Anyway, I'm sorry. That was exactly what I was trying not to do. I apologize. All right. Timmy, thank you for the super chat, my dude. Ethan, what's up, my dude? Black eye equals Brill Society. I have no idea what that is, but I will look it up. Buy a tape measure and prove how tall you are. You said you are 5'10", you are 5'4". I'm going to go buy a fucking tape measure, dude. You could just use your eyeballs and look at me standing next to people whose height you know who they are. But thank you for the super chat, dude. You can pay me $20 to ask about my height anytime you want. As a matter of fact, if you pay me $50 when I'm at home, I'll go get a tape measure and I will show you. I'll bring my computer out into our hallway because we have the thing like that has like the whatever, like the measuring that like you measure your kids on, and it says this is how tall they were when they were whatever. This is how tall. So next time I'm in my studio, $100 actually, just because fucking ridiculous. But $100, I will walk it out and put it down. I'll stand next to it, and you will feel so amazing about it. The Billdozer, thank you for the thank you for the super chat. On a scale from toothpick to full-grown redwood with telephone poles and railroad ties in between, how hard will you be when BFT Baron Candace Tuck accept your theory? Need your help. Side note. I genuinely, for real, don't care that much. What's the right way to put this? If Candace figures it out, then I will be very excited, because it's like, that was kind of my purpose. And the other thing too, though, dude, is like right now, because it's just it's very confusing, because my motives for doing this were to try to help Charlie. That's why I was doing this. It's like, I believe in what he's doing, and I fucking love Charlie Kirk. I was trying to help him because the people who couldn't figure it out were doing what they were doing. But now, as I've been thinking about it, and like Trump being in the position that he's in with his presidency, I realize it's like, if this shit came out now for real, they would fucking bury him with this, dude. Like, they would bury him with this. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. But I've already put it out, and I've said to them every single time I've ever talked about this, if anybody who's involved in this thing has any issue with it, all they have to do is just ask me. I will take it down. I'll never speak about it ever again. Thank you for being America first. Thank you for being America first. It shouldn't be that hard. You know what I mean? Like, it should not be that hard. And this situation that we're in right now is so fucked up. I can't even, it's like, I don't understand how anyone who is on our side going into the election could not have an astronomical problem with what is going on. Like, it's like, you can't go, okay, so here are our priorities, right? Like, here are our priorities, guys. Okay. We're going to get biological men out of women's sports. You're like, I don't know about number one, but that's good. It's like, we're going to medical freedom. You're like, all right, now you're talking RFK. All in. It's like, no more foreign wars. We're getting out of the Middle East. All the entire military, all these vets and all these people who are, have served over there, and they especially are like, that's right. And all of us are like, why would we be spending money going to war in the Middle East when we have no more. And it's like, that's right. No more. And then we go to war with the most powerful and capable country in the Middle East that no other president had said yes to go to war with, when we already know that Israel had been hammering Every single president all along, like, go, hit Iran, hit Iran, hit Iran, hit Iran. And no one else did it. And then Trump runs on no foreign intervention, and then he attacks Iran. And he thought that we were just going to be able to like shoot some missiles at him, and they just like the country would fall. You're like, dude, you killed the religious leader, man. Like when he killed Soleimani, that's a military target. You know what I mean? Like Soleimani was a military target. He was the guy who was like, he was leading all of the operations that were killing American soldiers. And Trump hit him with a fucking smart bomb or whatever. And I was like, all right, that's a gangster ass move right there. Flattened his car, like no trace of the guy. That's a big balls move right there. But like, we're going to hit the Ayatollah. It's like, dude, like, I mean, unless I don't understand how human beings think, I would have thought that's the worst thing you could do in terms of how like control is going to switch places in the country. Cause like, that's going to harden the resolve of all of the religious population over there to whom he's like the Pope. But what do I know, dude? You know what I mean? Someone in Scottsdale that knew her told me she was too extreme and would scare people off and run TP into the ground. The Erica was too extreme and would run TPUSA into the ground. What's interesting to me about her, like if I just, let me just say, like if I take my theory out of it, right? And what I had heard very consistently was that she was like a much more like very serious Christian. And I may have like misheard that or something, but that was the impression that I had, was that was her reputation, was that like, she's like a real deal Christian. That's like, that drives the majority of her decisions and all of that. That was, at least that was what I was under the impression of when she first took over. And I actually hadn't even thought about that until very recently, when I was like looking over some of the recent stuff. And I'm like, I mean, so that's just like not true at all, unless I don't understand Christianity, it's like that apparently. So again, but just to be clear though, I don't remember where I heard that. And I very easily could have like just invented that in my brain because, she was talking about Jesus a lot at the beginning of the whole thing after Charlie. You know what I mean? Exobros, thank you for the super chat, good sir. Or thank you for being a member for 18 months, dude. Great work, Jesse. Blessings for Belfast. Thank you, dude. You always hit me up on here, and I know exactly who you are. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate you. A new member, Andrea, welcome to the membership. I hope you enjoy it. Go to the oldest membership stuff. Like go to the members only and go to the oldest stuff. You'll love that. Like start there and then move forward because you'll like it. You'll like it a lot. Bulldozer, what's up, my man? Jess Theory is too off because they let Zions back in and did Charlie greenlight the Nicki Minaj shit. Where's the earpiece on that? Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, on the Israel thing, Charlie, I just don't think Charlie has control of. I mean, well, there's like the White House version of this, where obviously Charlie was against us doing regime changes because he has a brain, but I don't think Charlie had. I don't think anybody had influence enough to keep Trump out of this war, because what we heard is that Tulsi and Joe Kent recommended against it. JD Vance recommended against it. Okay, well, what do all of them have in common? Like, they're the ones who have deployed a bunch of times. Like, they're the ones you should listen to, right? And they were the ones who voted against. And the rumor was that Jared Kushner's the one who came in there and gave the advice that this will be a really easy in and out. And why? I mean, I was texting with Nate about this, and I remember when that story came out, I literally texted him like a mock conversation and it was like, Jared comes in and he's like, I have inside intel that no one else has, that came directly from, whatever. And they're saying that the regime is weak. If we decapitate, it's going to be over very shortly, yada, yada. And it's like, And Nate's like, that's probably like 80% accurate of what actually happened. I was like joking, you know, but I mean, it's just like, it was such an enormous mistake. And how this thing ends up shaking out will be very interesting. And then going forward, if the goal was to not allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon, you understand what this is going to do to that effort, right? Like now, if we end up getting out of this somehow without anyone using nukes and with our economy intact, how are we going to affect this? Like, what's our plan? Okay, because the only way we'll be able to get them to commit to no nukes is if we completely open their economy again, which we might have to do anyway. But like the threat of us being like, we'll go to war with you. It's like, okay, that's over. Like, that's not a threat that means anything anymore, because no president will make this decision ever again, because they demonstrated that all they have to do is close the strait, and that's a wrap. And our allies will starve, and we have no ability to change that unless we start like producing, we start like producing a lot more over here, and then we get new shipping routes, and we like, all of our allies just not going to rely on Middle Eastern oil anymore. But as long as they do, like, we have no leverage anymore. That at least, or no threat leverage. We have incentivized them with things they want, but we have no leverage in terms of, we'll go to war again, because we've lost. There's the idea that there's going to be like, oh, okay, now, the people are, honestly, I don't know what happens if like all of a sudden all of our allies are like, okay, yeah, we're going to go to the Strait of Hormuz, and like they've got their ships kind of like, protecting the tankers. How are you going to protect the tankers? Like, honestly, if we can't protect the tankers, how the fuck is anyone else going to do it? Okay. How simple and rudimentary, like a weapon is needed to knock down a fucking oil container ship. Those things move 1 mile an hour. Like they are like, it's like practicing your handgun skills from 4 feet away, and your target is this big. How are you going to fail putting one of those things to the bottom of the? This is like people with like now, especially with all of the different technology that you can, joystick or whatever. Literally, like, you can have someone with just like dumb little like underwater drone. That'll just, so it doesn't matter how many people come in, because the reason why I was talking about the allies is like, I would imagine Iran will not want to strike any of our European allies and bring them into this, just because you want America isolated. And the Middle Eastern allies is different. But like, so if you have like, I don't know, a French ship, well, the thing is, you're going to be able to sink the oil tanker without sinking the French ship. You're not going to have to sink the French ship in order to sink the oil tanker. So how does any ally entering make any difference? It makes no difference. And so, they're just going to be, if they want to have nukes, they'll just make them. Like, we're not going to be able to stop them after this. And if I know that, guess who else knows that? Which is why I am very nervous about what they're going to do. Love Buzz, thank you very much. You're freaking amazing. Ignore the Mama's Basement people. I didn't even see them, but thank you very much. I appreciate you. Let's see, who are we talking about here? Hold on. Hope that I know this video is not going to age well. Here's the thing, dude. This is the reality of my channel. Is there is nothing I can say that won't age well, because I have no, like, I don't have any opinions that I care if I'm wrong about, If it turns out Charlie was dead, well, I was being optimistic, If it turns out that we end up out of this thing unharmed, it's like, okay, good. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. I share what I think. The end. Like, it's as simple as that. And like the I don't know, the mama's basement people, it's like, listen, dude, like when I was like before, like people who like know my like much larger story where, I had built I built two tech companies, and the first one I thought I had sold, and then the CEO of the company that acquired mine got caught embezzling $30 million and he had sent it to some overseas bank account, and the stock went to zero. And so I lost all of it, right? I sold the company for $8.5 million. It wasn't all mine. Mine was 2.7, lost it all. Then became the chief product officer at another tech company. And anyway, bottom line is I ended up in the worst situation a person could be in for a full year, unemployed, no options whatsoever. And I always bring that up because that is where my ego got murdered. Like, I had a big ego before that, and then that killed it, and it never comes back. Like, not if you lose it like that. And so I just don't care. Like, people like to troll me. I don't care. People, like somebody's like, dude, this guy was talking shit about you. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I just don't care. I am very challenging to rattle, The only way you can actually rattle me is if like people whose friendship matters to me, if they're upset with me for some reason. That's the only thing. And there's what reason would there be for that? Timmy Rose, thank you for the super chat. I'm pissed about Israel first too, but you have to remember the Democrats have not backed away from any policies from the Biden era. Dude, I'm not saying, listen, this is the most important. Thank you for bringing this up. Okay. Like, this is the most important thing for people to understand. Okay. People being critical of decisions that Trump has made are not saying they're supportive of the Democrats. I will never, ever, ever support those people, dude. They locked us in our house and took away our ability to say no to an experimental warp speed vaccine that, by the way, they personally, while Trump was still in office, when the vaccine got approved, all of the same people said, don't take it, it's not safe. And then he gets out of office because they rigged the election with 15 million extra votes. I've heard, I don't know, who knows? Maybe there's some other reason there was 15 million, additional votes, just that election, right? And they get back in office, and then immediately on a dime, now not only is it safe, but you have to take it and you have no choice or we'll take your job away. And it's like, okay, whatever is happening over there, never. Like, fuck them, dude. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to blindly support some other group. It's like this is extraordinarily disheartening, this whole entire thing, because it's like, if hopefully we get out of this thing, Trump learns a lesson of some kind, and then I don't know, and then we can get like, I'm not bullish at all about how this is going to play out. But if somehow, if Iran is nice enough to not destroy our, Iran and China are nice enough to like not destroy our allies and not destroy all of our fucking, economy, and then shut down the petrodollar and all that. Like, it's like, and we don't have to use nukes, and this is not as bad as it looks, which I hope I'm wrong about. And we can get back to like focusing on the United States and what our priorities should be for like citizens of the country, then it could be good still. I will immediately start supporting him again the second that we're doing something that I don't disagree with. And I disagree with this completely. Like, I don't understand how anyone who was a heavy Trump supporter during the election could not disagree with this, because we were all aligned on this. Like, who was voting for Trump that was like, man, really, what we really want to do is get into a war with Iran? There's like no one. And this is what I'm saying. Is like, I remember things, and I know a lot of, obviously you guys do as well, but like, there's like so many people that are not aware that like their position on things now is diametrically opposite to what their opinion on it was 15 years ago. And the only difference is that for some reason now the Democrats have done a flip-flop on it, or the Republicans have done a flip-flop on it. And I don't forget. I look at them, I'm like, dude, you realize you've already talked about this and you have the exact opposite opinion. Like, there's nothing that someone can do to nuke their credibility with me more than that. Because again, I don't care about being wrong, but I will always tell you the truth about what I think, you know. He's telling the truth about the White House meeting. On X, there's a back and forth between Charlie and Brett Weinstein confirming it. It's about Charlie being at the White House advocating against the war. Yeah, I mean, of course, I believe it. Of course. Yeah. Assuming I am right, I would imagine that this has been a pretty rough start to the year for Charlie. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's I don't know. But that might be a fun fake Christian. Wait, I'm sorry. This has been I got behind. I don't know who we're talking about. Jesse, if they told you to take it down, that would be an admission that it's all true. So why would they do that, right? No, it wouldn't. If I just stopped talking about it and took it all down, I just wouldn't talk about it again. You know, I mean, sure, like, you know, people who are smart and listen, they would look and they'd be like, hey, where'd the Charlie's Alive playlist go? It's gone. They'd be like, Jesse, what do you think about that? I'd be like, you know, I still think that, but I'm watching the trial. It wouldn't be like a super big deal one way or the other, but I would never say anything about it ever. Khomeini had a fatwa against building a nuke. I saw that today too. I saw that. That was, yeah, Joe Kent said that in that interview. But man, dude, during I want to look at that Tatum video here in a second, just because it was so funny when Nate was live streaming, because I had seen Tatum call Joe Kent a coward, and I was like, oh fuck, man. I want to see Nate see this for the first time. And so I super chatted it, and then he was behind on super chats, and I called him and he didn't answer. So then I called him again, and he texted, he's like, I'm live streaming. I'm like, I know, you have to look at the Officer Tatum video in all caps. And then he did. He was so, dude. I knew he was going to flip his shit on that, which he did. If we switch to growing hemp and producing biofuel with vertical hydroponic farming, regenerative farming outdoors, we could end our dependence. Dude, you know, what's up, Scotty? Like, we could just, don't we produce enough oil that we can just be on our own? Like, matter of fact, let me ask my AI bot that, dude. Let's do this together, you guys. If the USA was producing and consuming only our own oil, do we produce enough to sustain ourselves, and for how long? Question mark. Hey, most people are using AI. They're all, make a penis on an elephant's face. You know, I'm like, do a shitload of research on a really complicated topic and then tell me what that means. I like it. Yes, on a flow basis for domestic or total domestic petroleum liquids, but not on a crude oil only basis. Okay, so right now, U.S. is forecast to produce about 20.6 million barrels a day of total petroleum supply in 2026 and consume 20.6 million barrels per day of petrol. Okay, but U.S. crude oil production alone is only about 13.6 million barrels a day. Yikes. If you mean, could America meet its petroleum needs using only total domestic oil-related liquids? Roughly, yes, at all levels. Could America run entirely on U.S.-produced crude oil only with no imports? Not cleanly, no. For how long? The EIA says U.S. proved crude oil reserves were about 46 billion barrels at year end in 2023. Reserve base is about 9.3 years, 6.1 years. So we've got Man, that's scary, dude. Bottom line is this, man. Like, here is just the bottom line, and this is the reason I've never, ever understood the like back and forth on climate change is like the climate change. Okay, so it's like, okay, we have climate change, right? And it's like, oh God, climate science is bullshit. You know, it's not true. They've always said it was going to be this, and it doesn't matter. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but like, let's just say that, like, what if they are right? That's end days, right? But let's say they're wrong. Like, let's say they're completely wrong. Like the climate change thing is total horseshit, which very well could be, right? Well, is oil a finite resource, or is there some way that it's being produced, or are we eventually going to run out of it? It's like, oh no, it's finite. We're going to run out of it. And you're like, mm-hmm. And if we ran out of oil tomorrow, how many humans on Earth would survive? It's like fucking 8%. It's like, so like 90% of the humans would just die off within an extraordinarily short amount of time. Yeah. It's like, does that seem like a reason that we should be aligning on what our next step should be either way? If it's climate change, whatever. If it's just because you don't want to see everyone die and slow as soon as, you know, oil production starts to, you know, because we'll find out. Like, the thing is, when that starts to happen, it's going to happen super fast. I'm not talking about like run out, but when we hit peak oil, where like it's a whole chart or whatever, but like when we start getting to where consumption has gotten us to a place where production is, because, you know, production goes like this as consumption goes like this, but then there's going to be a point where there's not enough and production starts to go like this while the consumption, you know, side of the graph continues to go up. And that is where oil prices will spike in a way that people can't even wrap their fucking brain around. And, you know, like, seems like a problem we should probably be thinking about. You know what I mean? Monil, thank you very much. I feel you, dog. My ego got kicked to the curb in a pretty brutal way. Also, probably the best thing that it is the best thing that ever happened to me, for sure. For sure. Because if you find any modicum of success with the ego intact, it could take you a bad place. But if you, I don't know, for me, it had to happen to me. Like, I wasn't like I was not a person who was going to go like seek out some kind of experience that was going to, like, I don't know, get rid of it for me. I had to have it done to me and just leave me in a place where I'm naturally so competitive that, like, I'm just looking around and I'm like, of any dude I know that's my age that I've ever met, I'm in last place. Like, I'm losing to everyone. What story are you going to tell yourself? You know what I mean? Like, no story you can tell yourself. And that whole thing that lasted for, I felt like that for probably, I don't know, maybe like 18 months. Like, I felt for 18 full months, I was like hopeless with, you know, I got another job and all of that, but like, anyway, but it never comes back. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. If I would have had the success that I've had now with the ego I had in like 2015, that it would have been bad. I probably would have lost my family, most likely. I would have been like, I would have behaved very poorly, I think. Ethan Goff asks, oh, thank you again, dude. Maybe they're showing us how corrupt humans are, so we are more willing to accept AI governance because it can't be corrupted, plus digital currency. I mean, listen, dude, it's possible that AI is going to realize that humanity is like this is a conclusion that AI might come up with when AI is in charge. You know what I mean? People may laugh at this, but when Joe Kent said maybe Trump is under threat, it finally made sense why he switched on every major position, truly. Man, I didn't think about that might be what he meant. I thought I must have misunderstood him, because I thought that he was saying, I need to listen to that again. Like threat of blackmail release, or like threat of murder, or what? I need to listen to that again. But I mean, it's possible, you know. Liz, thank you for the super chat. Jesse, I don't understand if Charlie's alive. How he could put his family through his fake death. Oh, they're on the inside of this for sure. If I'm correct, they're like completely on the inside of it. They're not like, they are, yeah, they know. That was how that's how I figured it out. I figured it out because I was watching Erica's behavior and I was watching the TPUSA people's behavior. And I was like, all these people around him were like, okay, for a person to be able to pull off pretending that someone that important to them got murdered, right? Like, you have to be a really good actor, like a really good actor, if you're going to be on camera all the time. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be a super public person who is not playing a role. You are literally just yourself, except you're supposed to be playing yourself after a tragedy of that magnitude. Like, you need to be able to act really well. Like, that's not just like a thing you can just say happened and then people not notice when you have a complete devoid lack of sadness. And I just couldn't figure out what I was looking at with Erica and the other guys too. I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? But I had watched them enough with Charlie that I'm like, there's no fucking way that these guys would kill him. So I never even considered it. That's why I said when I came back to, I thought Candace was going down the wrong, like I've always believed that she was doing what she thought was right and was chasing down things that she believed. But I was just like, man, I mean, I know she knows these people and I don't know them, but like, I always trust my reads. And I'm like, these people didn't murder Charlie. There's no fucking way. But then what ended up happening is, like, at a certain point, because I love her show, and so I was watching it. So like, I had all of these things, all this stuff that they had done in my head. And then it just all came together at a certain point where, when I listened to Erica on that after the post memorial call, all hands meeting with like the entire company, I'm like, I said on the stream, I'm like, there are only two conclusions here. Either Charlie's alive or Erica's a fucking alien. Because I had said it a million times, I would have put it at like 5% chance. And it was somebody goes back and finds it, and she's either a fucking alien or he's alive. It's at the very end of one of my videos. And within 48 hours is when I figured it out. It was because it just like all of these things like converged all at once. And it was like, holy shit. And I was still probably like 85% at that point. But then now going back and like once it was there and then going back and looking at every single thing, I'm like, holy shit, I can't fucking believe it. And the motive is the easiest part. Like, people look at, they're like, no, man, he wouldn't have done that. I'm like, you're insane. This is the most incredible plan ever if they would have pulled it off. But nonetheless, the way is, thank you for the super chat very much. Possession strengthens the US dollar GDP, drastically helps maintain superpower status. Possession. I'm sorry, dude. This is probably on me for being a fucking uneducated moron, but I don't know what you're referencing with possession. Possessions. Yeah, I'm sorry. But let me pull this over here. I want to let him talk a little bit more, and then I want to go to Tatum, and then I'm going to eat and go to bed because I got to go to sleep early.
Pressure from a lot of pro-Israel donors. And again, we know Charlie was advocating to President Trump against this war with Iran. And we knew at the end of the 12-day war, at the end of Midnight Hammer, that the Israelis were going to come back and ask us to go back to war again.
Right.
So we have a lot of data points between Butler, the assassination attempts against President Trump, the breaches of his security, what happened to Charlie Kirk.
Can I just ask you to pause on the Charlie Kirk because it upsets me to hear what you're saying, to be reminded that he was murdered, but also to hear you confirm what was reported in the media several months ago, that your office had been blocked from investigating his murder. That does not make sense to me. I don't understand why.
Okay. You've only that makes so little sense that you got one of two options, right? Like, because again, if I'm right, then all TPUSA and them are all involved, and Trump is involved. All of them are involved. But that's the thing that I feel like you can almost say that we've proved that they were involved. And to me, the likelihood that they were involved in murdering it, like, this is not how shit works. You don't have fucking 10 conspirators that are all giving signs to each other and doing it. Like, it's like, it doesn't even make sense, dude. You know what I mean? Like, if everybody's like, you know, oh, we're getting signed to this person, signed to that person, signed to this person. This person's writing Charlie's eye line. This one's whatever. It's like, why would anyone do that? If you just want to whack him out, just shoot him somewhere else. You know what I mean? If the signs are real, if all of that stuff is real, it's like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, why would they do that? You know what I mean? The way is, yes. What's up? Thank you for the super chat. I can take down Israel with your help. This is a story of a lifetime. How can I get my email to you to tell you what I know? Trust me. RealJesseOnFire@gmail. RealJesseOnFire@gmail. I mean, it's possible, dude. You know, but there's like, again, it's like as soon as I go back to that, I'm like, yeah, dude, maybe it's totally possible that he got shot. But then it's like, well, where the fuck is all the blood? Blood exploded out of his neck, and then there's not one drop of blood on any of the guys who carried him. There's no blood on their hands, no blood on their shoes, no blood anywhere. There's no blood trail on the way to the car. It's like, how, and the 30-06 didn't go out of effect. Like, how do people explain that? How, like, I am completely open to him being dead. If someone can like explain why these things are that they are, you know what I mean? Okay, here, let's move over. Let's talk Iran though. I really was trying not to talk about that today. Let's look at this because oh man, wait, hang on. I want to do this one instead. Actually, this is a new live stream that Tatum put up. And he's doubling down on Joe Kent being whatever. Scotty, what's up, man? Watch my last take, under 5 minutes long, explains in short how we get rid of petroleum. Totally plausible, phase out. Email it to me, my dude, and I will.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the...
What? He took it down? Oh, shit. Oh, he didn't. Apparently that live stream didn't survive. So I guess we could do this one. So, like, this is the one where he called Joe Kent a coward. And let's see what else he said later on.
In the Middle East. Now, again, here comes Joe Biden. Biden comes into office, and he does, I think, two things. He brings back in a lot of folks from the Obama administration who had bet their careers in foreign policy on reaching out to Iran. That was Obama's famous thing. If you extend your hand, if you unclench your fist, we'll extend our hand. And we did that. We entered the Iran deal. We gave the Iran access to billions and billions of dollars. And what did Iran do? They funded their proxies throughout the entire Middle East. We had already seen this movie before. Biden comes in and does the exact same thing. He brings back Blinken and Sullivan and the rest of the Iran deal guys. He says, we're going to reach back out. Trump.
The fact that they say oil is finite is a crock of shit. There's plenty of videos out there, geologists and such, that plain opposite of it being finite. Listen, if that is true, please send it to me. Like, believe me, this is another. So 2 issues that have like dominated my brain in terms of like fear response since, I don't know. I know exactly when the oil one was. It was 2008 when I watched the movie, The Crude Awakening. Okay. I do not suggest that movie for people who are able to like think and understand how all of these pieces fit together, because it is fucking terrifying. And listen, I'm serious. If there is any credible information that oil is not finite, I would love for that to be the case, enough to where I'm not even talking shit. Like, I'm dead serious asking.
Got Iran all wrong. Iran had been pretty quiet for quite a while under President Trump, but then Biden comes in, they unfreeze a ton of money, billions of dollars going to Iran immediately. Iran does what Iran does. They immediately start funding all of their proxies throughout the entire Middle East, many of whom that we're paying for as well, through the government of Iraq, through the governments of Qatar, those types of things. But the Iranians are very smart. And they said, hey, how can we upend the Abraham Accords? Because the Abraham Accords was an existential threat to Iran. It was an alliance that was created that really checked Iran. So they knew they needed to light the Israel-Palestine issue back on fire. And so they gave Hamas a bunch of aid, and then they had Hamas conduct a very brutal and very public attack. The way that Hamas immediately put that brutal attack of October 7th all over the internet as brutally as possible, I think they had a lot of professional advice from the Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps, their special operations guys, in order to get a response from Israel. And then Israel did what they had to do. They had to go in and defend themselves. And now they're going scorched earth on Gaza. And quite frankly, a lot of people in America are not comfortable with that. A lot of Democrats aren't comfortable with that. And we can critique them here from America, where for now it's nice and safe. But they're doing what I think any rational actor would do that's faced with a threat like that. But at the same time, they are playing right into Iran's hands by putting this issue back front and center. And so now,
all right, how is that relevant to us going to war with Iran right now, though? I'm very curious. Let's hear Tatum. Okay.
I think y'all heard enough. I think y'all requested, at least that's what Nick said, that you let me play the whole clip through. You don't want me to stop the clip too prematurely. But did you listen to what he said? He hit 2 or 3 issues there. Explained very thoroughly in April of 2024 why Iran is an existential threat to the United States of America, how they're paying their proxies to commit a war, that they paid or at least supported and gave money to Hamas that led to October the 7th, that they were at least wanting to fight back and undercut the Abrahamic Accords. How are they not a threat to the United States of America? How?
Well, everybody's shooting things at each other in one-offs, dude. Like, they're not a threat to us because they don't have any weapons that can hit our mainland. They can't hit our mainland. And Trump was voted in with a mandate of not going to war. Like, it's as simple as that, dude. Honestly, just to like keep it professional, it's as simple as this, okay? President of the United States is not a king, okay? None of these people who are in government are the dictators of anything. This is what democracy is. We vote them in, and they are supposed to be doing the bidding of the people. This is why we vote them in, and they go in there, and then they, Now, I realize that people have been betrayed by their politicians so much that they almost, it's like par for the course, kind of. They're like, okay, whatever. Like, to the point now where, like, Trump and them, they didn't even, like, try to even sell it to us like it was real. You know what I mean? Later, Timmy. Appreciate you, dude. It's like they didn't even try to sell it to us like the way that they do other times. This time it was just kind of like, all right, we're going to do it. And it's like, oh, do you poll the people? Like you poll, everyone's like, yeah, no. Yeah, no, we don't want to do this at all. Don't want to do this at all. And they just do it anyway. And yeah, I just feel like even if you support the war, like, which is very confusing. If you're a Trump voter and support the war, I find that very confusing because it was so clear that we voted for the opposite. And again, I can only put that to Americans being conditioned to the opposite of what we vote for happening all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it just happens all the time. Iran they have ballistic missiles, I think, as I understand it. I don't think they have intercontinental ballistic missiles, but they have ballistic missiles. As a matter of fact, I know they do. But yeah, so this is interesting too, though. Like Joe Kent is Ty, right? Ty Strong, what's up, man? So Joe Kent was like specifically talking about how so like exactly like Iran's policy was based like in the nuclear program was actually based specifically on outcomes that happened to other countries. So like Libya, they gave up their nuclear program completely, and they completely shut it down, right? And so we went in there, and Gaddafi got murdered in the worst everybody. Well, I think everybody knows. If you don't, he was killed by his own citizens, and they sodomized him with a sword. That's how he got killed. On the Iraq side, right, like where they tried to pretend that they might have weapons, then we invaded them. And so what Iran did was they kept their enrichment capabilities moving, but they only enriched up to 70%. So they were not like actively trying to enrich up to weapons grade. And that was like the middle ground. So it was like, they have some kind of leverage, and at the same time, they're not trying to go all of the way. But again, the thing about this entire situation is I don't understand how what's really behind this? Like, what's really behind this? I mean, aside from that Israel is pushing, because they don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon, but I'm saying, like, what's always behind all of this stuff is going to be access to resources and the access to the shipping lanes to get resources from one place to another. That's every single time. That's all this stuff ever is. And in many cases that I just learned about very recently, if you look into like public stories that we heard about this country's government doing blah, 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 if you look under the hood, it ends up being like this. Because what I was learning about was how the Soros Foundation had used their power to go into another country and rally the entire population against this company and their country's policy. And the real reason that they did it was because the country owned their resources, and they were just doing all this stuff, pretending it was about human rights so that they could get 80% of the profits, because the country wanted 60-40, and they basically took down the entire government so that they could get 80% of the profits as opposed to 40 or whatever. It's always about that. And having absolutely no insight into how Iran, like who exactly they do business with, what the deals are, what the United States wants the deals to be, what Israel, like, I don't know if that, I mean, Israel, I have no idea what the fuck they're doing, except that they just want to be the superpower. But like, I just don't feel like I have enough information to like have a super informed decision, aside from the fact that Iran was not going to attack the United States if we did not attack them. They just weren't, dude. And they wouldn't have attacked it. I don't believe they would have attacked Israel in an official fashion either if they thought we would respond. Like, we're the ones who did this. Like, we decided to do this, and that is the exact opposite of what was voted for. And now we're fucking jammed up, dude. Like, we are jammed up. And at the end of the day, regardless of how it started, like, people do, like, unless maybe people didn't watch my video the other day or are not clear on how this is playing out. I'll just give a super quick breakdown again. Okay. So the Strait of Hormuz, why they're constantly talking about that is it's a shipping lane. And that is where all of the Middle Eastern oil flows through to get to Europe, to get to the Asia and all that stuff. That's where all the oil comes from. Society cannot run without oil. Like, any of these countries cannot run without oil. To starve them of oil is to starve their population completely. Cannot, like that. They have to have oil. 20% of the global oil flows through that strait. So if Iran shuts down the strait, our allies cannot get oil. Straight up, 90% of Japan's oil comes through that strait. Something like, I can't remember, but like well over 50% is European, all of that stuff. And so when they shut the strait down, we can't get it open. Like, yeah, we crushed their military, but all they have to do is, it's this small strait. All they have to do is just sink any ships that try to go through there. And they're like, yeah, it's not open. And none of the ships are going to sail through there. They're not, like, what the fuck? They're not going to, if they know they're going to get sunk, they're not going to go through there. So they're all just sitting there. Like, all these oil tankers are just sitting there. They won't open it, to the point where Trump had to go out and, he's like, yeah, we destroyed their military. It's like, okay, so how come the oil can't go through the strait? They have this gigantic strategic bottleneck that is this advantage that everybody knew about. And they warned Trump that this was going to happen. That was literally like, if we do this, they're going to close the Strait of Hormuz. And they just thought like, oh no, they won't do it, dude. They won't do it. And it's like, nope, they did it, dude. They did it. And now if we can't get them to open the Strait of Hormuz, like, everything falls apart. Like, all of our relationships fall apart. Everything falls apart if we can't get them to open it, and we have no ability to stop them from sinking these ships, because it doesn't, like, they fucking ships go 10 miles an hour. You can't avoid it. So until they make a deal with us, and we're the ones calling them, trying to get them to make a deal, and they're like not picking up the phone. They're like, nah, we're good, dude. They're like, we're good. You guys decapitated us, right? So what do you want to talk about? Like, it's all over. We're going to have to make major concessions to get this up. Like we are not in any position to negotiate with them at all. We need them to agree to reopen. That's just what it is. They can go around and the pipeline is open. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Wait, hang on. All right. I'm in a patient mood, so let's do this. Okay. So that makes no sense. People existed before oil. How many people? How many people existed before oil? You want to see? I'll show you, because oil, literally every single thing that you take for granted is oil. People that don't know how this all works think that oil is just cars. It's like, oh, they won't be able to drive their cars. Like, no. The entire industrial revolution, every piece of infrastructure that designate or enables us to produce food, to produce anything, is all oil. Everything, if you look around your house, everything that you look at is made of oil. Everything, every single thing. Okay.
We already know that they have proxies and.
Well, listen, Mary Wallen, you and I are in agreement in terms of what we need. What we're talking about here is that while they close the Strait of Hormuz, our allies can't get oil. We already had to take sanctions off of Russia, because this is how the entire global system works, right? We have the strongest military, so our allies, right? They don't have strong enough militaries so they rely on us to protect them. And we use that as an economic weapon, because we tell them who they can and can't buy oil from. And that's when we say, like, oh, we're going to put sanctions on Venezuela, we're going to put sanctions on Russia, put sanctions on Iran. That's what it means. It means that our allies are not allowed to buy oil from those countries. And so those countries get economically hurt, obviously, because we control the largest markets. China and Russia, like, China's a huge ally, obviously, but they buy Russian oil, but like, you have this gigantic portion of the developed world that is not allowed to buy oil from them because we tell them to. And what we give them in return for that is we guarantee that they will get their oil safely. They'll get they won't get attacked, all of that stuff. So they get safety and they get security, and their society can run, which is why when Trump was going after the allies for not putting in their fair share, not spending enough on their military. And I thought about that. I'm like, I wonder why we weren't holding them to that before. Why was anybody else letting them get away with that? Like, we spend this much money on military, and they're just like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to give that to our citizens, while America, has starving people in the street because they spend so much on the military. And I realized that them having a weak military is a good thing for us if we are playing the superpower game, because what it means is they can't defend themselves at all. So them having weak militaries is good if you're playing the strategic, like, we run the world thing, because they are completely reliant on us. And so when we took the sanctions off of Russia now, and so Russia's allowed to sell into the European market. Okay, well, guess what? Like, how long does it take before, they get used to doing that? They can't get Saudi Arabian oil because it's not going through the strait. So they're buying from Russia. And then, like, this is what I'm saying, like, all of this is all economics. It's all economics. And then the military, it's like, basically the way that I look at it now is like, imagine if in business in the United States, if like companies were allowed to have armies, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you're just like allowed to have armies and just go and kill people. That's basically how I see all of this now. It's like, they're just, for some reason, we've decided that at a country level, if you're a country versus another country, you can just go and blow shit up, where it's really like not that different from if Microsoft was like, I think we want to take over the phone market. And they just went and started attacking all of the facilities that manufacture iPhones in China and every other place. It's like, Because at the end of the day, it is business. Like it's literally just business. No, we don't give a fuck about anybody where we don't have some kind of, well, not even us, the oligarchs that run this country have some business interest. Like, you understand the kind of horror that's going on in Africa all the time? We don't give a fuck about them. You know, like we never care about any of them. They've got these like rape crews and like child soldiers, the most horrific stuff you've ever heard. And we don't go there because there's no infrastructure there to take their resources. So it's like, you know, whatever. We don't care about that. Whatever we say that we care about in these other countries is a lie. Like, we go there because we want to have good relationships with the ones that are going to, you know, we're going to buy shit from, and they're going to sell, you know, they're going to buy our weapons. We're going to buy their oil. And this, you know, this group, they're, you know, they have a better deal with China, whatever. We got to get them the fuck out of here, dude. We want it. We want that country. We want those resources. Like, that's what this is all about at the end of the day. And we were saying, like, let's just like stop doing that, and let's like worry about what we're doing. You know what I mean? No, I have slow mode on. The chat's slow because I don't let anyone chat more than once every 5 seconds. That is exactly why I always do that, because otherwise I do get a bunch of fake fucks and they start spamming the shit out of my chat. Try it. Try to chat twice in try to chat twice really fast. And 4,000 people is not very much, dude. I have fucking 600,000 subscribers. Okay, I'm actually gonna jump, dude. Do we get straightened out, matching ballistics, marks on the bullet jacket that's matched to barrel rifle? Oh, is that right? Yeah, but what if it's just what about if it's a bullet fragment? Like, if it's just a fragment, then how, you know what I mean? Like, first of all, this shit makes no fucking sense. If there's no exit wound, where the fuck is the bullet? How do you only have a fragment? You know what I mean? Does anybody know? Did they I mean, I already know that they did not recover a full bullet. So, but yeah. Later, dude. They said jacket fragment. Yeah, it's so stupid, dude. Who's they? The prosecution. It might have been. It's either the defense or the prosecution's motion. There was a motion in the Tyler Robinson trial, and they were talking about the how they had found a fragment of the case, or a fragment of the jacket, and that's it. Like, it's like everybody saw him get shot, dude. So where's the rest of the bullet? You know what I mean? Jenny, thank you for the super chat. Butler was a warning. Charlie was a message. Iran is Trump falling in line, unfortunately. Yeah, I wish I knew what Butler was. And I don't think for a second that it is impossible that one of the reasons that, I mean, like, let's say, again, hypothetically, let's say I was right and they faked it. I've never said that I would discount that. A reason they would have done that is because Charlie knew they were going to whack him out, and he and Trump and them did it to protect him. You know what I mean? Because, like, Charlie took their money. You know, like, once you take their money, dude, he took their money. If you take their money, they own you. You know what I mean? But who knows? You know what I mean? All right, I'm going to jump. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out. Aside from, I'll say this, I think it is going to be a very disappointing fight for those two. Like, neither of them have fought in forever. And I mean, like, for a really long time. Like, Gina Carano has not fought in so fucking long. I can't imagine it's going to look very good. You know, I don't know. Dude, I've heard the Butler thing was staged 1,000 times, and it's like, dude, a guy got killed. Like, didn't the guy got fucking his head blown off, man? Like, there's a dude who got murdered, like, got shot and killed. And I've seen the seen a picture of I'm sorry, not Tyler Robinson. Thomas Crooks with his. I've seen the picture of him with his. So, I don't know. I mean, in all honesty, when people first presented to me that Charlie Kirk faked it, I thought it was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life, ever. I was like, okay, yeah. I can't verbalize how dumb I thought that was when someone brought it to me. It took me months of investigating that, and then just at the back of my mind, just thinking like, maybe, dude, like, and it was at like 1%, 2%, 3% until I finally figured it out. But Butler, that would shock me if Butler was fake, just because I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. You know what I mean? Driving faster. Thank you very much. Dude, appreciate the super chat. All right, you guys. Good night. You guys are the best.